in the shadowy recesses of an ancient office building, there lived a creature known as Elevator Emily. She was a silent, mechanical entity. Her presence felt only through the rhythmic hum of pistons and gears as she descended into the depths of the subterranean floors. The button pusher was another inhabitant, his sole purpose to navigate the labyrinthine corridors of the building, delivering messages to the various departments. He never questioned the strange occurrences that seemed to plague this structure. Content in his role of custodian, Floor 13 Frank lived a solitary existence on the 13th floor. A recluse who spent his days reading obscure journals and poring over ancient manuscripts. The floor itself was a repository of forgotten relics, its halls lined with dusty bookshelves and ornate tapestries that seemed to whisper secrets in the wind. One night, as the button pusher made his rounds, he stumbled upon a peculiar note slipped under the door of Frank's office. It read, "If you wish to escape this place, push the button." The button pusher was intrigued, but also wary. He hesitated for a moment before deciding to follow the instruction, pressing the mysterious button with trembling fingers. Emily responded immediately, her gears whirring as she descended towards the unknown floor. As she moved, strange noises echoed from within, sounds that defied explanation, a mix of dripping water and faint whispers. When Emily arrived at the 13th floor, the button pusher was met by an atmosphere thick with dread. The light flickered ominously, casting long shadows across the room. Frank sat at his desk, a serene expression on his face, yet there was something unsettling about him, something unnatural. "Welcome," he greeted, his voice calm and reassuring. Pushing the button was the right decision. As the button pusher approached, Frank reached out his hand, extending it towards Emily. The creature hesitated, but eventually allowed itself to be guided closer. Frank's eyes sparkled with an otherworldly light as he gazed upon the mechanical marvel. "Emily," he began, "I've been studying the history of our building for many years. It is more than a mere structure. It is a gateway. Gateway." The button pusher couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. "We have reached a critical juncture," Frank continued. "Our world is in danger, and only one of us can save it." Emily remained silent, her mechanisms whirring softly as she processed the information. The button pusher, on the other hand, felt his blood run cold. What did this mean? Who was he to be part of such a perilous endeavor? "Choose wisely," Frank warned, his voice growing more urgent. "The fate of our reality hangs in the balance." With a final, haunting whisper, Frank turned and began reading from an ancient tome, his eyes glowing with unearthly light. The air grew colder, the shadows deepened, and an unnatural presence filled the room. Emily's gears ground to a halt, her systems shutting down as if under a spell. The button pusher found himself trapped in a nightmare realm, surrounded by impossible constructs and creatures from the depths of his mind. Frank stood tall, his eyes burning with revelation. "The button was never meant for you," he declared. "It was intended for me." With that, Frank stepped forward, his body now shrouded in an ethereal glow. The button pusher watched in horror as Frank merged with the building itself, becoming one with the very structure that housed them. As the last traces of Frank faded into the night, the button pusher found himself alone once more. He turned to Emily, hoping for some sign of life, but she remained motionless, her circuits humming softly in the dark. The building creaked and groaned around him, the walls seeming to close in as if by themselves. The button pusher stumbled backwards, his heart pounding with fear. Then, from deep within the shadows, a voice echoed, "You are next." As the button pusher fled for his life, he realized that he had been lured into a trap, a twisted game of survival that would consume him and all who dared to challenge it. The elevator that went to floor 13 was not merely a mechanical contrivance. It was a gateway to the abyss. And as the final door closed behind him, the button pusher knew that he had stumbled upon the greatest horror of them all, the truth hidden in plain sight.